There it is.
Alright, let me go on to what you call it. Now, Ty, you have to be chatty.
Don't worry about it.
And you might have to also explain what you're doing.
Okay, there you go.
So let you on.
Yeah, there you go. The stream is on and also
Yeah, you're on.
stream is on and you are
Yeah, and it's full screen this time.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That was fun, though. Full of gameplay, honestly.
Okay, the only thing I gotta figure out is which button makes the microphone go up a little bit. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. You might want to go in here and turn the volume up a little bit.
For what?
Go to audio. Oh, never mind. It's on. All right, cool.
No.
Then just do that, and I'll be back in a little bit.
Gotta do some early morning stretches. So can you actually hear how loud do I gotta be? Can you hear the audio though? With me talking? Or is the volume of the game like up like blind?
No, it's not.
Alright. Let me see. Everything is still good. Gotta put some bed. Alright, cool. Camera sensitivity check. Fucking full screen. Audio's good. Alright. Don't worry about me. Just a little tired. Don't worry, I got good sleep. But who the fuck gets good sleep nowadays?
Alright, remember two things. You don't need to cuss that much. Remember the first 5 minutes because of the bot. And two, like I said, talk about what you're doing when you're
Alright, I'll try to do step-by-step instructional stuff when I'm actually in the midst of building and or slash combat. But most of it's already self-explanatory in the options and settings and whatnot. But I'll still do it in here since, you know, I'm going to be playing for at least a good while. Anyways. Hello, everybody. Howdy to all of you. I am DeltaKnight, the son of OmegaKnight from this channel. And today, I'm going to be playing M.A.S.S Builder, Mechanical Assault Skeleton Suit Builder, basically. Not very catchy, doesn't really roll off the tongue. But it's basically your standard action-adventure, mech building, anime as fuck game. Oh, sorry. I gotta stop that. Anime building game. Anime mecha building game. Excuse me. And in this game, you're fighting giant kaijus in your giant mecha, trying to protect the world, as you should. Not really don't care, but hey, I get to be a giant mecha fighting kaijus, and that's been a childhood dream of mine since like day one. Honestly, just the thought of being a giant robot fighting kaijus is just awesome as hell. I mean, because honestly, who wouldn't? Like, people nowadays just want to do some boring stuff. Like, who wouldn't want to be a giant? Who wouldn't want to pilot something like this? Like, I built this from scratch. There are some pieces that are basically default standard. And what I'm showing right now is just the frame management system, so you can cycle between frames. You can get like about 32 or so in here. You can rename them. You can grab the mech by importing the data, which is like right over here. You can import the data. You could reset it so the mech is basically standard again. You can move the mech left and right on the hangers, which are like down here. If you click L1 and R1, you can kind of cycle between the mechs, so you can move them wherever you want to, but you don't really have to worry about that. As you can see, Exo Unit Storm, that's my mech. Wanted to go with more of a wingy jet sort of aesthetic, and this is my father's mech, OmegaKnight -EXE, and he went for more of a literally can't see me, but also you can see me stealth mech, because it's blinding as hell. It's a gorgeous mech, don't get me wrong. I like the aesthetic of it, but like I can't see at all. But I mean, hey, it's got a good aesthetic, and that's what matters most. Because if you don't look good, how are you gonna fight good? I mean, come on, as simple as that. Frames again are select to build and manage the M.A.S.S frames, which is I've already shown you. Armors is customization. You can customize the joints, you can paint the joints, you can put decals in the joints. It is a very extensive, very like detailed game about like the gameplay itself of like fighting kaijus. That's pretty good. It's some solid gameplay. The camera, you will have to adjust that on your own, but like the detail of the mech building, that is it's chef's kiss. I love doing everything with the mech building. Honestly, hours could be wasted in this shit. I mean, sorry again. Hours could be wasted just building your mech from start to finish. And the fact that you can get actual like smaller pieces to your mech, like you could put like the minute details on like your arms and your biceps and your waist. Like it's just, look at all these pieces at the top. Like cycling through all this, you can make your lower head, upper head, your neck, upper body. It's like there's like 5 pieces just dedicated to the skirt. Like like that's how extensive this thing is. Bruh, in this mech game alone, you can make your neck. You can design your neck. In what world have you ever decided like, oh yeah, let me just make my neck? But I mean, hey, it looks good though, honestly. What else could you complain about? But yeah, joints are the inner pieces. It's really hard to show, but like it's kind of the inner pieces between like the arms, you know, the inner elbow and stuff. It kind of highlights it when I do this, of like the inner mechanisms. This is just an overall painting sort of thing, so you can kind of like change the paint if you want to do all of the paints at once. Like if you didn't feel like painting it basically on your own, you could just paint the entire mech one singular color. Oh Jesus Christ. Or you can just have like a custom style, because you can edit the pattern. You can edit the pattern of it to like, you know, give it something like, ooh, I want weird pixels or camo, or a lot of these are really cool. Because I haven't really like messed around with any of these because I didn't really like the patterns anyways. But you can make your own custom style, or you can have a different color to it. You can change the options of whether or not you want to like, oh, I want something to glow a bit more, or I want it to look more metallic, if that's it. You can change the pattern to like offset it to kind of like fix it around a bit. If you think it's too bright with the opacity, excuse me, you can make it bigger. You can make the thing come out bigger with scale. You can rotate it a bit if the pattern doesn't look where you want to. Offset X and Y is like up and down, left and right. Those are your quadratic angles, I believe. And glow is basically what I did for like the wing pieces right here. If you can see. Let me move, please. Like the wing, I have the top part of the wings black, and then like the bottom part blue, and I custom made those. Because I really just wanted some really cool wings, and the backpacks that we have standard I don't really vibe with them, and you know, suffice it to say, Decal. This also affects all of the decals on your mech as well. So if you wanted to change them up to make them, as you can see, let me scoot. Let me scoot. There we go. If you wanted to change up the mech color of these little things, you can. I prefer to keep them like kind of a lightish white blue. Let me see. Yeah, little. Yeah, something like that. It's really hard to see, but it's kind of what I pick most often. I already have all the color scheme basically done because we've already plugged at least like a day's worth of mech building, fighting, and all that stuff into this game because it's just a really fun game. And back in the day, there used to be a really fun mech building, like robot on robot fighting game called Armored Core, which was made by From Software. From Software had the ability to make a mecha game known as Armored Core. There was like at least 3 or 4 entries in the series. It was man, I just started this. I wish I could get sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Calm down. But did you know Raid Shadow Legends? Segue into a non-existent transition of a sponsor that we don't have. But basically, From Software made a little game back in the day called Armored Core, and it was really popular because it was a mech building, like super high tech fighting game. Well, action adventure game basically. You got to slap around other mechs. In this one you're fighting kaijus, but in the other one you were just fighting mechs on mechs. You had, and it had this much level of detail and like customizing your mech, and it was so good. You can color, detail. It was a beautiful game. They
also,
stopped.
It was for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it was for like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. It was a really old series. But maybe they're coming back with it. I'm not entirely sure. I really hope they do come back with it because I want to play a good old-fashioned Armored Core. I think OmegaKnight has Armored Core, some of the Armored Core games still, but we'd have to dust out the PlayStation, basically get that going. But me and him used to play so much of Armored Core. Mecha games and mecha in general is just one of my favorite type of creation sort of thing. Something about like seeing the components whiz and whir and stuff click together. It's like playing with Legos, only I get to slap giant monsters with it. I mean, you can do that with Legos, you know, if you're really good at building them, but like I can still slap around kaijus. And at the end of the day, that's I'm kind of vibing with that. But basically, From Software made Armored Core, and nowadays they're making Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and all that stuff, which are phenomenal games. And I wish I could play one of those, but you know they're not on sale yet, so we can't really vibe with that right now. You want to make sure to get your games cheap and on sale, so that way you can have some more money to buy something else a lot down the road. Sound like my dad over here trying to talk about financial stuff, bruh. This game is actually a really recent game. It came out around. It's pretty recent because yeah, we plugged like 40 hours into this already. Store page. It came out about 3 years ago by Vermilion Digital and the Sekai Project. Yeah, but it's mechs, robots, character customization, it's sci-fi, and this is a very extensive game. It's still a bit in early access, and you can buy it for like $20, but again, wait till it's like on sale, so you know you can buy it for a little bit cheaper. Like it is a really fun game, and the sheer amount of content that this has the potential, you know, to have in it. I can just imagine just going for hours on end, building mechs and creating just dumb stuff in this game. Because honestly, I gotta talk with OmegaKnight about it, but I kind of want to build a lot more mechs than just the one I have now. But like, yeah, it's the sheer amount of stuff that you can do in this for the time being is not as bad. It's not that bad. We haven't actually beat the game yet, but we have been a bit we have been going a bit hard to the paint trying to make just fun little mech designs. Yeah, just look at this just in general. Like, this is just stuff that people have made on their own. And looking at it now, I really want to build some dumb mechs designs. But those are probably also this is probably also custom pieces, because a lot of this is like custom pieces. I don't really know if anyone really cares about the schematics of what you might need, because if you have a computer, if you just have a really good computer, I don't know what he's got on I don't know what computer setup he's got here, but this right here is basically the schematics. Anyways, let me go back to this. You can also play with mouse and keyboard, but I got a controller, so I'm not gonna mess around with these weird schematics when I've already gotten accustomed to this thing. Try not to be too much in detail with the mechs. I'm not really building any of the mech. Because as much as I can try to explain it, it's better if you just click the select button and it'll show you in the help menu. You can go from the basics of what it'll teach you here, of like frames, armors, all this stuff. You can also, it'll even teach you a little bit more about the options menu. It can show you about the frames, how to move them, what it means to import the frames and stuff. Yeah, and it even has a little like video tutorial so it can show you how to do it. So if my explanation is terrible, which it most likely is, you can just see in the help menu of how they do all of this stuff. I keep gesturing with my finger in like a swirling motion towards the image, but like I just realized that not on camera. Yeah, but they have help for armor, so you know how to make the armor. I'm using a controller.
It's slow.
Like, yeah, the mouse is so slow though. Like, yeah, it shows you little image videos of how to do it, which is like, and it's just it's so extensive. You can do the custom frames, joint settings. It teaches you how to do all of these on a little help menu. Cause like what, like bruh, the mech game, like this game right here has the ability to change your joint settings. You can make your mech taller, shorter, just like why? They didn't have to, but at the same time, thank you that they did. It's got one for weapons, which the weapons are just as customizable as the mech itself. You can get to assemble it, you can build it, and building is just very simple. You just gotta have money and the blueprints for it, which makes sense because you know you gotta design the thing that you gotta put the thing together, so you need the blueprints for it. You can name your weapons, which aren't really gonna show up in like the names aren't really gonna show up in anything. You just have it there. Behavior method is like how you fight style, which is really cool because you can get like axes, two-handed, single-handed, katars, which are like little brass knuckles but with swords on the end of them. If you've never seen them, yeah. And like you can change the elements. You can even, dude, it's so extensive. This game is so extensive that you can actually color the way your weapon swings. Like, see in this little video, you could even color the weapon swing. Like, why? Like, this is such an aesthetically pleasing game that the sheer amount of, like, I'm just really glad that there's more mech games out here. I love playing mech games, basically. And the fact that there's something this extensive that I bought for pretty cheap when it was on sale, it's just phenomenal, man. Like, it doesn't have to be this extensive. You don't have to have every little nook and cranny be this detailed, but you can just go ham with it for hours. And that's what, like, most of the time we spent on this thing was just like, what do I want to do with this piece of my mech? What about this piece? And when it comes down to tuning, tuning is basically the inner machinations of your mech, the inner workings and stuff, so you can fix it how you want to. And you can even have the parameters explained. It's very simple, very short. You know, durability, you know, how much you can take, power is how much damage you can deal, accuracy is for ranged weapons. You know, power and accuracy are for different types. So if you want a heavy power build, that would be just you use melee. Have a lot of accuracy, that's for your guns, and then there's like a lot of guns to. You can get like about 8 guns and like 8 swords or melee weapons. Basically, it's either or. Armor and shields. Shields come back. Armor does not, and there is. And if you're playing this, there is no HP like health pots or like HP drops or nanobot recovery things. So you gotta make sure to look at your armor all the time and cautiously worry about it when it's like down low. You need to take breaks and let your shield come back, because that is your saving grace of like the only thing that'll come back in this game. Physical damage. Physical damage is these types of damages that you see right here. They're all based on what weapon you're using. So physical is for the melee. Piercing and plasma are for the guns, like bullet shooters and energy shooters, which they really should have named them like drones or rifles or something to you give a bit more, because energy shooters and bullet shooters is a bit broad of a spectrum. Freeze damage, you can apply that to either melee or range damage. You can apply that to basically anything once you unlock it, because that's another thing. Heat damage, freeze damage, shock. Shock, you know, shock paralyzes your enemies. Freeze has a chance to freeze them on spot, and if you do, heat does damage over time, which is very good. So yeah, you kind of want to have multiple weapons based with different attributes, so that way you have a more wider variety, and you can carry at least like 3 or 4 weapons at once, as well as guns and stuff. So you want to have like a wide variety. Keep your mech basically balanced on all aspects, so you're not like, because most enemies in Alba Burial are kind of weak to shock. So if you can get shock unlocked, then you're kind of good. But you can just rock with any of the other ones. It doesn't really matter. But if you want type advantage, like a Pokemon game, just go with shock. Most of them are weak to shock. It's hilarious how many enemies are weak to shock. But yeah, you can have that. Oh wait, boop. Acceleration is how fast your mech goes. It also affects the drones and energy launchers if you need them. Fuel burn rate, that's for your boosters, which you can use. Magazine, energy, and fuel is for fuel for you. Energy for your energy shooters, which are shared between guns. The magazine loads for bullets are shared between your bullet shooters, which are your physical rounds, basically. Reload, energy charge, fuel recharge, recovery. This is basically all the recovery stuff you need for excuse me, all the recovery options you'll need for faster reload times, energy reloads for all your energy bullet shooters, and the fuel for your own mech, as well as your shield. The weight isn't really like a bad thing. The weight, it doesn't really affect your mech too much, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, if I carry like 30 billion guns on me at once, I'll get super slowed down. Weight isn't really that. It just shows you how much armor or like weapons you've brought with you. It doesn't really affect all of the other stuff, and we've already tested that. Main unit is which I can show you in a little bit detail, but it's just the focus on the statistics to greatly improve your M.A.S.S performance, and the subunits are like the little stuff you can add to it, like modules and gears to give you better skills, better overall shields and armors and stuff to make your mech a bit more powerful throughout the battle, because you're gonna need it when you're fighting like 30 kaijus at once. And the development, the R&D department, basically, this is where you use material pieces that are dropped from enemies to build more and better, to have an upgrade system to better improve your mech, your better engine, your better OS processing system, and your architect, which is basically the exterior of the mech. It doesn't change your mech's design, it just changes the inner workings of your mech, so it gives you better strength, better defense, all that stuff. And if you lean too heavily with like swords or melee, or lean too heavily with like guns and stuff, some things might fall off a little bit harder than others, so you want to kind of like adjust it to keep a sort of middle ground so you can use guns and mech. Or if you're really just ballsy like I am, or whatever you feel like, you can lean heavily towards one type of mech design, one type of mech system versus the other one. But since there's so many mechs you can build, you can have like, oh, maybe I don't want to be super mech oriented, you could just build another one, or just switch the systems internally, and you can have an entire system full of all of these things that'll help you out along down the road, because the game doesn't have like a super heavy difficulty spike. It just ramps up like incrementally, but the pieces drop so easily that it does when you go to the next fight. Basically, you don't have to worry about getting one shot too often, unless you're being reckless. I had to get some water. Excuse me. Engines, gears, again, a lot of the stuff, you just have to, you can read through all of this. It's a lot of stuff to read through. You'd probably sit here for like an hour just trying to do all this, but it's all self-explanatory. Again, keyboard and mouse or controller, but you can change this on your own if you feel like it. There's the HUD, close combat. Excuse me. You can close combat, you can guard with a shield. Bullet shooters, again, are the physical guns. Energy shooters are your like energy weapons, so you can have pew-pew lasers. Bullet shooters are your missile launchers, where they should have just called it that, but whatever. Energy shooters are your little drones, because you can have little drone friends if you feel like it. You have a targeting system. Enemies drop materials and items. I don't really know if battle points are like super effective or whatever, but they're just, point system, so you did good, I guess. Sometimes you have to interact with objects in game, which is really just super explanatory. There's like a tracking system while you're playing, so it'll show you what's the next objective, so you're not really lost. The maps aren't super big, but you can, but it's still there to help you out. You have a menu, you get a board restart, which, and then it's not really that crazy. There will always be a mission result to show you what things have dropped. You can do additional combos, but you have to unlock certain things, like heavy, extended, and empowered. You have to unlock those, basically. And it's just your anime flippy-dippy, sword-swingy moves, which there aren't really any for the guns. You just shoot harder, basically. But the sword has all the flippy-dippy, super anime stuff. And Quantum Break is your Super Saiyan form, basically. It really just is. You would have enhanced form, which is every aspect, high speed for attack speed and movement, devastate for powerful and larger area, and then armored is for getting you defense, which will unlock one of those at some point, which think about maybe that armored form, so not taking so much damage. Again, all of this, if you really want to look through it, it's super self-explanatory. They have a tutorial thing that I'll show in like a minute, but yeah, all of this is super self-explanatory. And down at the bottom, as you can see, it's like custom mode, select option, edit. It's if you need help, just click the select button on your controller, or what's it on the mouse. Help is at the top right here if you're using mouse and keyboard. So you click this and it'll show you all this stuff again. But I'm using mouse, controller, so you would click the select button. And again, all of these haven't been on, we've been playing a lot, so as you can see, there's a lot of stuff unlocked already. And we tried to wait or just, play the game in general, but we had an itch and we needed to scratch it, and then that took up like 40 hours. So, so we ended up kind of digging a lot of time in this game. We didn't beat the game like that, so don't gotta worry about that too much. But we did plug a lot more hours into this than we thought we were gonna do. It was just too good to pass up. Well, that looks nice actually, huh? And yeah, a lot of certain pieces look a little different than the actual cover art, and that's because I put an accessory on top of it, which again, accessories are explanatory in the little help thing, but basically you can have a model, which there are excuse me, there are like hundreds of models on which to choose. So if you want to go crazy with building your own like pieces from start to finish, you can. There's primitives, which is like armor plating. This is armor plating. All those. And there's components, which are like little knick-knack pieces. They look a little weird, but that's because I've already modeled what I wanted on here. But yeah, there's little knick-knack pieces, like you can make your own custom sword. You can make your like own axes. You can give yourself horns. Like there's weird plumes and tails and stuff, so you can make it look a little more like, I don't know, a wolf or something. Or you make it look like a demon, a bird. You just make it look like you can make it look like a giant tank on legs. I mean, who wouldn't? There's just like little knick-knack pieces that you can just slap on if you want to, and they don't really cost much. Like usually, the highest that I've seen is like $1,000, but you get cash super easily. I would probably recommend doing this a little bit later since, oh no, Among Us. Anyways, and there's connector pieces which look like tubes and engines and latches and stuff. But again, this is just for the really, if you want to sink like 30 hours just trying to like build a piece by piece of something, even though a lot of the designs naturally are just really cool looking. I mean, hell, if I took off all these pieces, I'm pretty sure it would still look nice to me, but I like adding the little knick-knack pieces because it brings the mech to life. It makes it look more of your own volition. It gives it a little bit more style, more flair. Like, cause yeah, I did that for the back. As you can clearly see, these wings I went the most ham with because I wanted a really, really cool backpack. So the engine still worked fine, but I just had to give it a little bit more spice to it. Honestly, I haven't really found any like cool armor that I wanted yet to like maybe replace it, because they don't look like, they don't fit anymore, and none of the other mech pieces fit anymore. And if you really just don't like them, like again, I already done kind of messed around with it on the backpack. So, and if you don't really want them, you can always click the X button or just unequip it using the mouse and keyboard and stuff. And if you do that, it just disappears. You just won't have it. I don't know if that affects whether or not you can fly, but I haven't tested that out, so I don't know. It might, but there's also other pieces that can give you boosters. You just gotta unlock them down the road. If you don't like how chunky some of these things look, which they kind of are, but they're, and I mean it's for different mechs basically. If you want to fiddle with all that stuff, but yeah, I'm not really a fan of most of these. That's why I made my own. Again, they look cool, but it's not for me. Like, you can fix the front, the sides of it. You know, just it's very extensive, and you can even put pieces on these, like certain ones, and you can see we have the glowing. Basically means you've gotten all the blueprints, and you can unlock it with if you have enough cash for it, which makes sense. Like, just there's so many in here. Like, just let's see. Let me see here. Let's see. What do we got here? And it's super easy to just purchase stuff. Again, if you have the money and you found the blueprints from fighting mechs, you can put everything together. And if you just don't like something, you just don't have to click on it. The game won't force you to just select a piece if you don't feel like it, but you can hover over it if you have it bought. You can't, if you haven't bought the piece yet, it won't show it, which kind of sucks though. A preview button would be nice so you know what you want to put together. Oh god, no. But oh god, no. Yeah, some of these just I'm not messing around with. They just don't look right. But yeah, if you don't like a piece, you don't have to select it. You can just kind of leave it all alone. Everything is basically up to your customization needs. So if you can find a piece that you're comfortable with, then you could just sort of slap an accessory on top of it if it makes you feel better. That's why I have giant jetpack and little wing boots down here at the ankles. Little wing boots. I made those myself. As you can see by the weird floating letters, that's to show you which accessory piece it is. Gave myself little wing boots. But yeah, you can get the feet, the front of it, ankles, lower legs, just all of this from top to bottom. And if you have a bullet launcher, which are basically your missile pods, you can adjust them, attach them to camera, work with me. You can attach them to a different place. Like I want them on my hips or lower legs. You can slap them on auto, which is just your shoulders. You can customize on your shoulders. That you can put them on your body. Just basically anywhere well, not anywhere you want to put them, but if you just want to, you don't really have to have them. But that's in the weapons department, which is load. Weapons department. Weapons department. Again, you have 8 weapons in which you can build from. You have one shield, so you kind of just have to, if you stick to that one shield, or don't equip it at all if you don't like what it looks like. You have 4 guns you can build, 4 energy shooters, pew lasers you can build. You can build 4 of these, which aren't really extensive, but you can add accessory pieces to them. Again, you get like 8 accessory pieces per piece, so it's like at least 32 pieces you can put on these things, a free piece. And your drones are the energy launchers, which I made mine look like little birds. And again, the low floating letters are accessory pieces you can slap on there. And I put a lot of custom pieces because I liked the original of it, but I wanted to add something a little extra to it, so it, have an aesthetic to it. And now, got a little bird. But yeah, you can have 4 of these, 4 drones. You can cycle between them in-game with your designated button, which you choose, whatever that button may be. And again, I customized my weapons from kind of scratch, with the base being the standard, but all these accessory pieces are just handmade. Well, quote-unquote handmade, because I wanted to give it a little bit more flair to it. I don't really have all my weapons equipped because I wasn't really... my make was a bit more melee focused, so trying to slap on all these weapons just kind of seemed a bit trivial. But yeah, custom custom pieces on the top of the shell, like wings and little sword bits, custom pieces all the time. Like, yeah, I made a few weapons here and there, a scythe, which I don't really know if I'm going to use, but I just thought it looked really nice. This is my pride and joy, my Stormblade, and again, custom pieces with the handle and also the assaulter, which is your sword or blade part, which I made customized too. I gave myself a spear, and the attributes are at top, which is physical, heat, frost, and then shock. Sockets are basically which part you're on, so grip and assaulter, and different grips allow you to have, this looks weird, let me actually go to it, let me go to one of these. Grips are basically give you different fighting styles, so if it's like a standard grip like these, it'll just be like sword swinging or knife, basically. One of these grips, like those are axes and picks or whatever, or smaller size, which look weird because of the sword, but you can have small variants of it. You can have a single blade have twin, so you want to pull off your double energy lightsaber, you can. Guitar or combat knuckles, you can strap a sword to it, or a fist like in here, which there's a ton. You can have sword pieces. You can even, again, lock it, just get blueprints, which I think, oh, ooh, now that looks pretty cool. Might do something with that later, but not right now. Again, you have little short blades. You can have claws, so if you want to rip and tear, you can. Bashers are kind of like pole arms, I think, or just heavy mallets. Yeah, there's giant fists you can punch people with, spiky fists, maulers, just these big chunkers, hammers, which this looks dumb as hell, but hammer. You can have maces, lances. If you're feeling monster huntery, that's just a missile. It just looks like a missile. I'm very real. But yeah, there's short variants of it. Axe heads. Like there's a lot. Some of them don't have big versions. Some of them do, but it just depends on which one you want. You got axes, scythes if you're feeling fancy. And there's still more to come, but overall, you have a pretty vast selection of it. At least like 30 to like 40 pieces to choose from on each piece. And again, the grips does a different style, so one-handed, you can have two swords on the end of it. You know, spears if you want a two-hand giant pole of some kind. You can also do a long pole with two swords on the end of it. So if you want to have a even longer twin blade pole thing, you can go right ahead. But that's not what I would usually do. I mean, hey, go off. There's just a lot of pieces to choose from. So whatever you're feeling, whatever floats your boat, you can just make to your heart's content. Again, there's not really like a lot of. There's at least 16 pieces with 8 per the grip, 8 per the assaulter. Again, blade part. But you can still do. There's a lot of accessories to choose from. So you can. There's I'm not even like halfway done using the accessories, but again, I had the mech blade the way I want it, at least for now, so I don't have to worry about it. Though I will see what that assaulter looks like. Excuse me. Huh. little bit of the, if I can do it right, I might be able to show off some of the decals. Where is that piece at? Is it C? Model. Yeah, it is. It is C. So if I can adjust it, which the adjustments, the little lines, the like red line, green line, blue line, to show you where the piece kind of is orientated at. Oriented. And you can still move it around, but I think I might be able to put it somewhere else. Oh, it's too thick. Yeah, it's too thick. I can't do it on this sword, but I'm using it. Oh, that's good. Sensitivity. Yeah, I'll probably make another sword using it. Yeah, I don't really know. Just back to it. Yeah, I would really recommend taking your time, just kind of like looking around, seeing what works for you. Oh. Ooh. Oh, that does look really good. Let me see this one. Might be for a different sword altogether. Nah, this one looks really good. Yeah, give me that one. And you know what? You can also, even though you're wielding a spear, you can. No, that was X. That was unequipping. You can dual hand twin spears. I mean, hey, it's a giant mech, so why?
Wield?
Well, it says dual hand, but yeah, dual wield basically. I know it's weird. And in here with colors, there is custom styles that you can make at the top. You can fill out one of these to have a style, so you can make your own, perfect color that you want to use for the rest of your mech, which will translate over through all pieces, like weapon, like if you, like it'll, you have it saved. You just have to, make it first. But all these pieces are default, so like iron and silver and all that stuff, for like color-wise. But then it goes down to the nitty-gritty colors of like whites and blacks and oranges and greens. And way, I'm going up, but on way down at the bottom, there's small little like camos you can use to kind of show the patterns. They kind of like show the patterns off a bit, but you can make your own pattern if you have a custom one made already. And you can also have glowing bits, which, as you saw from OmegaKnight's mech, he went blue radiance and called it a day, making it the most blinding mech in all of history. Gorgeous mech, not to say the least, but like it is blinding. And fix that. And this bit, I want that to be gold. Yeah. Oh, that looks good. That looks real good. Now I'm wondering. I change the grip. Should I change the grip to the dual one? Oh, that messed it up. Because yeah, you could have a dual one, so you can have a little sword at the other side of it. as you can see by the sockets. So you can slap a second sword on it, which I'm thinking I might do a small dagger at the end. Might do a small dagger at the end. Yeah, if you don't like a piece, you can just sort of like, it'll be removed if you change things back. Yeah, that doesn't look half bad. Oh, I like that. I like that. I would go super heavy into accessories, but then I would stop talking eventually because I get really into the zone when creating stuff. But I will do some. I might do some custom mech things again. Oh, ooh, oh, that looks. Wait, hold on. Wait. The katana. Oh, snap the katana. Nah. Ooh. Also, if you can see in the details, it's kind of like above. They're like different attributes for the weapon. Well, not like super heavy attributes, but certain weapons have like a prompt near the top that like where this blade along the attached edge, it says like how much it weighs, and this is like you could build it because you have enough blueprints for it. Certain weapons like the energy blade have little prompts next to it. Motion. So motion just basically means that it'll start to move around. It's supposed to move around. Well, it usually moves around. I don't know why it's not. Is it just not gonna move? Because it's supposed to move around. I don't know why it's not doing it though. The drill would have spun. The drill's supposed to spin, and the energy sword basically does like a little pulsing. Excuse me, a pulsing movement. Camera. I'm keeping this one. It just looks nicer. Twin. And again, you can dual wield all these weapons. So if you're feeling, if you want to go dual wielding, or if you prefer hiding behind a shield, which is good because the damage reduction of a shield is very high. It's very high. So I would recommend having like maybe one, like a sword and board, and then you can have like another one that's just having another weapon that's maybe, I don't know, twin-handed or dual-handed, or like just a single weapon by itself. If you have a weapon that is single-handed and you have the shield equipped, it will always keep the shield there. It will just switch out the weapon that you're holding. And you could equip basically all of these. The weight really doesn't affect your mech too much. You just have to keep it. So to keep it in check, just equipped something different. Have at least one of each. Oh, that looks pretty cool. I don't know. Ooh. Yeah, and if you're just a really big fan of mechs in general, this would be a really great game for you. So that way you can just spend hours building a giant mech to slap around kaijus with, or whatever they're called in this game. I think they're called quirks or something, or I think they drop quirks. I just don't know what they're called. If you have the money for it and you would say wait for this to go on sale and then try to see what it is. And I don't know if I'm really doing a good job of like explaining most of this stuff because, oh, is that like a flamethrower? Yo, yeah, that looks dope. It's a little like spindly, but not bad. Because yeah, this is just a lot of gameplay. Just kind of boils down to just, I wonder what I want to look like today. I like this one a lot more. And barrels. Certain pieces will affect, like as you saw from the grip, certain pieces will affect how your gun shoots off. So like a few of these up here, they're like single shot, so just hold it down and then it'll fire one bullet at a time. Then there's like auto, which is like machine guns or like rapid fire, and you just hold it down and it'll start shooting like multiple bullets at a time. Spread is shotgun, and detonate is grenade launcher or rocket launcher. We did a lot of testing for certain pieces, and some of them don't really like work as well as others do. Yeah, it's really hard to see because the camera keeps resetting it back to the middle piece, which is getting really, really annoying. But yeah, certain pieces just tickles my fancy, to be honest. It does seem pretty cool though, but I'm not a shotgun guy. But I'll probably make some mechs later. Tuning again was self-explanatory, just for your mech parameters. You only have 3, just engine, OS, Architect. You'll unlock these in the R&D department, which is the huge skill tree. This is your skill tree. Zoom out. This is for your engine. This is for your neural net processor and this massive abomination. This is for how your mech kind of like handles certain fighting styles and stuff. And this is where you would unlock your Super Saiyan form, which is like right here. Yeah, this is how you get certain pieces to tune up your mech to the way you want it to be. But now, it's mission time. And again, we unlocked like at least up to mission 13. So there's a lot of content we've kind of gone through. There were cutscenes, but again, we kind of skipped them. So the Earth is in danger, basically, and that's kind of the gist of this entire story. And here's the tutorial mission. What the hell? M.A.S.S? Cameras, whatever designate button you've pressed, we have ours at R, and that helps with camera movement. Left stick for me is moving around the character or mecha. Clunk, clunk. Whatever you've assigned to B would be the jump button. You can jump. If you have your jetpack equipped or boosters in general, you can fly. And now, combat. You have a lock-on mechanism, and it will always lock onto that enemy who's right in front of you. There is a ability to cycle through to show like what you're fighting. Like you can just like unlock the enemy and then lock onto a new one. Melee attack is just one single button press, and he does as many flips and dips, but you don't have to lock on the enemy. It's not really like a required thing, but you can if you want to. Oh, that looks good. You can if you really need to slap them around. Whatever you have equipped it for your bullet shooters, you could cycle between the two of them. So you'd be like, bullet shooter, mini launcher. I mean, bullet shooter and energy shooter. And they'll have different properties. And boom. Locking on is very simple. Just use a button again. And you switching back to weapon. Stuck. Switching back to weapons is super easy. Whatever button you've assigned it to. You gotta also make sure that it's comfortable to your hand and your playing style, so you don't have to worry about constantly like. Because we had a big problem with that like a few days ago. Was that the camera and the weapon switching was really hard to like focus on. So we had that switched in the options menu, and so that way we can keep it fixed. Yeah, because it really messed up OmegaKnight on that one. Again, everything's customizable, so you don't have to worry about getting too messed up on the pieces itself. Tutorials super easy to blitz how to pilot this thing. Now I'm just gonna go through all the missions from like start to finish, kind of on hard mode, just to sort of play through them. And this, I don't know if we can. I haven't seen any way to like turn this off if you don't like it, but it's still a cool sequence of watching your mech kind of boot up for the first time and then take off. But I don't think there's any way to like turn it off exactly. It's short enough that it's not like super annoying to like sit through.
Mission start.
Again, switching weapons on the button press. I'm gonna rock these for the time being. And she will always explain to you what you're kind of supposed to be doing in the thing, but... excuse me. Combat is super fluid. Monsters are these things, and I don't remember what their names are. And type advantage, if you have it unlocked, you can add to your mech a little thing that'll show you, oh, these things are weak, which is very small. You might not be able to see it, but it's right there. Like if I home in on mech, there's a little symbol. It says it's weak to this, and you'll see down in your little HUD at the bottom, like, oh, I have thunder, so it does more damage with thunder, or storm, or light, whatever it's called. Smack. Yeah, combat is super fluid in this game, and the extended combos makes it more anime. It's just really animated for no reason. But smacking these guys around is super easy. We're already pre-level, so doing this is rudimentary at this point. But yeah, here's investigating objects. Just one button press, and it kind of does it for you. You can, again, if you have shield, your mech will look like this. The shield will be raised, and you'll have the little bubble around you. If you don't have a shield, it'll just do this little HUD display to show what you're aiming at. But yeah, only the weapons with the shield will give you the damage reduction little orb. Which, as you can see, I'm gonna let you, come on, hit me. For the audience, do it for the audience. Yeah, and it'll have a damage reduction. You'll take a lot less damage from the enemies. And if you have certain drones have like properties, like certain ones will give like a super chest laser, other ones will swing around like swords, which mine swing like swords, as you can see. They'll start swinging back and forth, and they do damage as well, which is affected by accuracy and acceleration. So if you have those, they'll do a little bit more damage. And I made him the slash variant, which is sword, because I like wielding melee, even though guns is really good. But I wanted to do the swing the sword. I mean, you're gonna give me a giant sword and a giant mech, and I'm not gonna put them together? Come on, it's child's play.
Oh.
As you can see from the things that are constantly blipping up in onto your right, those are those things that drop from the enemies, like little blueprint pieces, which are the squares. The tic-tac-toe board, basically. Triangles are the materials for leveling up your mech OS system and architect system and all that. Then the layered ones are also like the little layered squares. Those are also little material pieces. I don't think there's really like any difference between them, but they're just material pieces in general. To help further build your mech to whatever you want it to be, melee or ranged or something in between. Now as for down near the HUD, where your HP and your shield is at, there is a little button that is glowing, and it says ready. That's if you got into the research and development near your architect, which is the blue skill tree. If you went down to the right hand side and you upgraded that tree, you'll eventually unlock your Super Saiyan farm, which you just click down a button and it makes you stronger. And if you unlock the different variants, you could have gotten strength or defense, as shown a little bit earlier in the stream. And you smack around doing way more damage, even though he's a boss, so his health bar is going to be massive, even though I'm in this form. And each boss has their own immune stage where you can't deal damage to them and get glowy. And his is he does a giant shockwave that blows up the ground. It doesn't hurt his allies, so you don't have to. So you can't just cheese on that one. They're very short lasting, and they each have little attack patterns. None of them are too super crazy. Like his is just charge, slam his fist in the ground, stomp a bit. But I mean, we all can't beat Kaiju, Godzilla level basically. Every boss fight, there will be like 30, not 30, but there are like 3 or 4 minions that are just constantly spawning. They don't really hurt you that much, but getting overwhelmed by them can be a problem at times. He is almost dead, but again, leveled up, so of course he would be. Come on, one more swing, and dead. Yeah, that's just because we've been playing the game a lot, so they're gonna go down pretty easy, even in harder stages. Because we're gotten up to like stage 13, and there's also like hunting grounds, but that's a little different. Yeah, difficulty hard, time about 5 minutes, didn't beat personal best, but there's percentages of how much you've made, of how many blueprints you've gotten during the fight. Since we've already beaten some metal shit up a bunch of times, we've already gotten everything there. But once it shows that it's complete, you already have it, and you just have to have the money for it to unlock it in the thing, and then you can add it to your mech. A lot of these pieces don't really do too much difference. It's just how you want your mech to be designed. Excuse me.
Alright, now I told you he was going to be a natural at this. And for those who don't know, I've been here the whole time. I've just been eating, trying to get all the things set up for the live stream. Hi, once again, it's your host, OmegaKnight. And